watching Global Mirror. I'm Shreya Upadhyaya. The week has been a whirlwind of crucial global developments. The killing of Yahya Sinwar, the man who's been orchestrating the bloody October 7th Hamas attack on Israel. The downfall of the Indo-Canadian ties. Justin Trudeau's continuous hollow and baseless allegations against India. And External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar showing the mirror to Pakistan and China at the SCO summit. We also talk about what's been happening between the two Koreas. Let's get started with the big Yahya Sinwar elimination. In a huge victory for Israel in its war against Hamas, the group's chief and the mastermind of the October 7th attack, Yahya Sinwar, was neutralized in Israeli airstrikes. While the elimination of Sinwar was lauded by allies of Israel, including the United States, fears of an even wider escalation in the war loom large. Commonly called the butcher of Khan Yunis, Yahya Sinwar reportedly boasted about killing Palestinian informers with a razor blade and a machete. Now, Sinwar had been among the top targets sought by Israel, which had placed a $400,000 bounty on his head following the October 7th attack. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu asserted that the war is not over. Sinwar had not been publicly heard from since late 2023, when Hamas launched the surprise attack on Israel. It was believed that he was hiding in the vast network of tunnels built by Hamas under the Gaza Strip.
Yahya Sinwar is dead. He was killed in Rafah by the brave soldiers of the Israel Defense Forces. While this is not the end of the war in Gaza, it's the beginning of the end. To the people of Gaza, I have a simple message. This war can end tomorrow. It can end if Hamas lays down its arms and returns our hostages.
Meanwhile, while calling it a good day for Israel and the world, President Biden said there is now an opportunity for a day after in Gaza without Hamas in power and for a political settlement.
Good day for the world. I'm so pleased now to congratulate him getting Sinwar. He had a lot of blood in his hands. American blood, Israeli blood, and others.
Now, concerns also center around the 101 hostages in Gaza, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu demanding their release. All eyes, of course, now are on whether the Israeli Prime Minister will be able to successfully negotiate the return of his citizens. To talk more on this and help us get a clearer perspective, I'm joined by Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni. He's a defense expert. General Kulkarni, namaskar. Welcome to Global Mirror. You know, this clearly is a big victory, General Kulkarni, for Israel in its war against Hamas. But now there are fears that this might escalate further. This might widen in the West Asian region. And also, of course, the concern about the hostages, the 101 hostages that still remain with Hamas.
Shreya, thank you. I think it's been a blessing in disguise, because this Sinwar was actually responsible for that sin that he committed on the 7th of October 2023, in which over 1,200 Israelis died and over 250 hostages taken by them. Sincerely hope that it ends the war. Sinwar is dead. Sin's been committed by this man, and he was the man responsible, and it's taken over a year. And also, surprisingly, a chance encounter. Nothing much that the intelligence could be at a chance encounter in which 3 people died, and probably they thought that since nobody had come to take the body, what was it? And the further investigation led that one of the body resembles Sinwar. And then when the tests were done, it turned out to be, yes, it was this man who they were looking for over a year. So the death on the 17th of October, and now since Hamas is leaderless, headless, has nothing much to offer other than the only hope and survival, and with whom would they now be talking to? Because Hamas, the entire leadership is gone. You find the political head knocked off in Iran, the military head knocked off over here, and the one who's to take over from him, I understand, mashal. As they say, jiske haath mein mashal hogi, uske piche kafila hoga. But that man with mashal is sitting in Qatar. So he has no following. What does he do in Gaza? So Sinwar was the man who was leading everything in Gaza by his presence, and absolute, I would say, he never ever showed himself since October 7th, underground, hidden, not a word heard about him whether he's dead or alive, till now that he's dead. it shows the kind of leadership that he was leading, the tunnels that were helping him, the kind of awe around him in Gaza. I think that's the end. That's how I feel, a blessing in disguise. I sincerely hope a ceasefire comes through. I sincerely hope with Hamas ceasefire, Hezbollah gives it up, and with that, Iran gives it up. Because Iran now has a huge role to play because Hamas has no leadership. Hezbollah's leadership is decimated. Iran is the only one which is trying to keep all of them alive. If Iran now finds that some good sense prevails in Iranian leadership, I think the war must end. Yeah, sure.
Okay, General Kulkarni, I want to understand from you two aspects of it. One is the operational part of it, the operational aspect as to, the finding, the searching of Yahya Sinwar and the eventual killing of him. But before that, I want to understand from you the fact that, since Hamas's top leadership has now been eliminated, we saw, Ismail Haniyeh has been eliminated, Saifuddin has been eliminated. Now, of course, Yahya Sinwar has been killed by the Israeli Defense Forces. A similar thing happened with Hezbollah as well. Their top leadership, the top leadership's replacement and the replacement's replacement, they've all been eliminated by Israel. With this sort of context and situation, do you think that members and cadres of Hezbollah, Houthis and Hamas will be demotivated, or this will lead to a further escalation in the war? Because clearly nobody is backing off. Prime Minister Netanyahu said the war is not over. And obviously, Hamas, Houthi and Hezbollah, all of these groups will want revenge from Israel.
See, what the Prime Minister Netanyahu is saying, the war hasn't ended. From their side, they would much like to disarm the entire Hamas, the entire Hezbollah. The elimination, probably, if somebody feels that they mean to totally finish off Hamas and Hezbollah, well, then ideology can't be finished like that. But yes, disarming of the people in Gaza is an absolute essential. So very important for Israel right now would be totally not one arm with any Palestinian in Gaza. That's the beginning of it. And then they can look for a two-state solution. But right now they would ensure that their soldiers and subsequently heading after, not a shot is fired from them, from inside Gaza onto them. So in that context, I find that entire tunnels, entire Gaza would need to be flushed and cleaned and to be ensured nothing of that can happen. Similarly for Israel, southern Lebanon is very important because that would act as a buffer. And even after the resolutions 1701 of the UN and the replacement of almost you find that the Lebanese army wasn't there. It was the Hezbollah which was doing. Hezbollah also had a political way to go about it since they were part of the parliament. So there was a lot of things going on. Now I feel, yes, some sense will prevail because Hezbollah without leadership, the southern Lebanon will be captured by Israel without denying the fact. Gaza will be disarmed 100% without fail. Houthis will be taken care of by the international community because somehow the sea lanes of communication are being obstructed and the whole world is affected by that. So Houthis will be taken care of. Iran is one which, despite having attacked Israel, Iran itself is under a tremendous cyber attack. So you find in Iran is not easy because Iran is finding not a shot being fired, but power supply, their nuclear installations, all of it, their own religious head, Khamenei in hiding. All this is leading to a lot of pressure in Iran. So I think it would lead to the end of the war for a very simple reason, because there is now a hope that because there is no leadership, Iran is on the back foot, nothing in Hamas, nothing in Hezbollah. So the only way forward would be to release the hostages and come onto the negotiating table, but amenable, because surrender is something which might be very, very difficult to come through because of this huge ideological cadre that they have. But yes, definitely, I think ceasefire talks can take place and someone from Qatar can take the initiative and now go on the negotiating table and end the war, hopefully in the next month or so. Yeah, sure.
How do you think, General Kulkarni, America would play a role in this? Because in the past few weeks, we have seen some sort of strain between the ties of America and Israel. America urging Prime Minister Netanyahu to end the war. Also, perhaps frustrated with the fact that Netanyahu is not sharing every specific detail of how he plans to move forward. But with this sort of elimination of the Hamas leadership, how do you think America now will play a role? They've called it a good day for Israel and the rest of the world. the killing of Yahya Sinwar, but they've also talked about ending the war. Do you think now it's going to play a proactive role in ending the war, or perhaps, let it be because the US elections are around the corner as well and they're going to wait till that result comes out?
I think, Shreya, America would be interested in ending the war. Israel would be interested in ending it on such a very high note, fantastic note. Israel couldn't have asked for more. America couldn't have asked for more. And America has clearly stated in this complete killing of Sinwar, they are not involved. So, and elections are around the corner. They know exactly what it is. I personally would feel that yes, America would be interested. America will now negotiate hard with Netanyahu that he should talk tough. He can talk tough, but on ground, it has to be working in the way of a ceasefire. And that's the only way forward, because until and unless that happens, then the world can get involved unnecessarily for no rhyme or reason. The present, I think the requirement is to contain it. And the way to contain it right now is with Hamas leadership gone, Hezbollah leadership gone, Houthis under control over there, Israel on the front foot. Actually speaking, there is nothing left in any of these fighters. There are no leaders whatsoever. A quick negotiation for a ceasefire and ensuring that those 101 of those hostages are released, because out of those 101, we understand about 30 odd may have already lost their lives. So there's a lot in happening, and Israel takes a lot of pride in not, even for Sinwar, 1,000 the Israelis released 1,000 Palestinians to get this chap out. Otherwise, he was already in their custody. He would have died in custody. But in that case, and in that situation, with 15,000 of the Palestinians in custody in Israel right now, and with 101 hostages that they have, I think this is the right time. Israel can also leave maybe about 4,000 or 5,000 of their hostages. They can get 101 out. The talks for negotiations for ceasefire should commence, because Gaza is completely pulverized. There's nothing in Gaza. Southern Lebanon is heading the same way. I'm sure the world sees it. Israel also sees it. Israel is on a high note right now. The world respects Israel right now. I think it is a right time, right opportunity, a blessing in disguise, going for a ceasefire. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see how this really moves forward. General Kulkarni will wait and watch as to how not just Israel, but all the other stakeholders really now respond to this entire situation. Thank you very much, General Kulkarni, for joining us on Global Mirror and sharing your perspective.